You're ready, like actually ready this time. Not I'll do it this weekend ready, not I'll just need to be in the right headspace ready, like ready today. You want to deal with the pile and you're still standing there not doing it. That is a very specific kind of frustrating because it's not that you don't want to do it. You do. It's that every time you go to start, your brain looks at the whole thing and just doesn't know where to grab it or to start. The junk mail and the past due notices and the insurance form and the birthday card you never sent are just sitting there, all equal weight. Your brain can't prioritize, but it can't categorize. So nothing moves. That ends today. I'm going to give you a 4 pile system that tells your brain exactly what to do with every single thing that's in that pile. No decisions, no willpower required, just 4 categories and a process that actually works for how your brain operates. Ready? Let's go.
Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money.
Here we go.
Dollar bill, yo.
Now, before we touch a single piece of paper, I want to tell you something. The reason this pile feels so heavy, it's not in your head. It is in your head, literally. Princeton researchers found that visual clutter, a pile of papers, a messy counter, anything your eyes land on that represents unfinished work actually competes for your brain's attention. Every single item in that pile is something that your brain has to process and decide to ignore. That's exhausting. That is cognitive load. And for ADHD brains, it's not background noise, it's the whole damn room. There's also research showing that clutter raises cortisol, the stress hormone, in women specifically all day long. Not just when you're looking at it, all damn day, which means that the pile that you've been avoiding isn't just stressing you out emotionally in that moment, it's stressing you out emotionally all damn day. Your body is carrying it, which is probably why you're all so tired. If you ever wonder why organizing feels so impossible, like there's something deeper going on, I have a whole video on exactly that. It's linked in the description. Watch it whenever you're ready. Either way, everything you need is right here. But before we get into the system, we need to talk about who is in your corner first, because that's part of the system too. Here's something that most financial organizing content skips completely. Going through a pile of financial papers alone, especially when there's shame attached, especially when you don't know what's in there, is harder than it needs to be. There's actually a name for what happens when you do this kind of work with someone else. Researchers call it body doubling. When another person is present, even if they're not helping, even if they're just sitting doing their own thing, it becomes easier for the ADHD brain to start and stay with the task it's been avoiding. I know this because I have ADHD, and I know exactly what it's like to stare at a pile and feel the wall go up the second you try to start it alone. Being witnessed makes the task feel real, makes it harder to quietly close the bag and just walk away. So before you open anything, think about who you could call first. A friend, a sister, your partner, someone you feel safe with. You don't even have to explain what you're doing. Jump on a video call, prop up the phone, tell them you're working on something, and you just need a body in the room. They can literally be eating lunch on the other side of the screen, telling you about her date with somebody's son last night. It still works. And if you don't have someone like that right now, or you don't want to explain the pile to anyone that you already know, that's okay too. There are online communities full of women going through exactly this. ADHD communities, money communities, spaces where you can jump in and say, hey, I'm about to tackle my mail pile. Anybody want to hop on the Zoom and do it together? And people will say yes. I've seen it happen. Engage, connect, find your person. And actually, this is exactly how my quarterly paper parties were built. In 2022, I was going through a really hard season. Depression had me in a place where the pile wasn't just a pile anymore. It was everything. Mail everywhere. No system, no energy to start. My sisters and my mom came over and they offered help. We sat in the living room, laughed, turned on the TV, and something shifted. My brain turned back on. And suddenly I could access the skill that I had because I actually knew how to organize and manage this paper stuff. I just couldn't access it when I was overwhelmed and depressed and shut down. But their presence shifted something inside of me, and I remembered how to do this. And suddenly, I felt like the supervisor telling them how to organize these things so we can blow through this paperwork quickly. You put this in this pile, you put this in this pile, you call this list, right? My nervous system just calmed down. The overwhelm dropped just enough that I could actually look at what was in front of me. Not only did I get through it, I turned bags and bags of shame-inducing paper into a peaceful list in a spiral notebook that I could manage. That was the moment that I knew that body doubling wasn't just a research concept. It was the right thing that actually worked. And I thought, what if I could create that for other women? That's the paper party, a quarterly co-working session where nobody has to tackle their pile alone. And here's what happens when people show up. One of the attendees said, I've been avoiding my investment statements for 8 months because I was scared to see the numbers. During the paper party, I finally opened them and discovered I'm actually doing better than I thought. Plus, I found a dividend check that I never deposited, $247 sitting in a pile. Thank you for creating a space where I felt safe to face my financial stuff. 8 months, $247 sitting in a pile, found in one session. That is what happens when you open the bag in a space where you feel safe enough to look. The link to register is in the description. I'll tell you more at the end, so just stick with me. Now, before we open anything, I want to set up the space you're sorting in first. I know that sounds like an extra step. It's not. It's the difference between starting and stopping 3 minutes in because you can't find a pen. Here's the surface you're working. Clear the surface you're working on first. Not the pile, the table, the floor space, the couch, wherever you're sorting, give yourself a landing zone that's already clear before anything comes out of the bag. Remove what you can from your visual field. Close other tabs, turn the TV to something without words, put your phone face down. Not because you're not allowed to be distracted, but because your brain already has enough to process. Give it a fighting chance. Have your supplies ready before you start. You'll need something to sort into, whether it's 4 bags, 4 boxes, 4 piles on the floor. I don't care what, just 4 designated spaces, something to write with, and a piece of paper with your phone notes open for the list that we're going to build as we sort. And if timers help your brain, set one now. Work in short bursts. The pile doesn't have to be done in one sitting. It just has to get started. Princeton researchers found that clearing even part of the visual field immediately improves focus and information processing. So setting up first isn't procrastinating. It's ADHD-friendly strategy. All right, here's the system I want you to use. The reason that most people can't start with their pile isn't laziness. It's that every piece of paper requires a decision. What do I do with this? Is this important? Should I keep it? What happens if I throw it away? Decision fatigue is real. And for ADHD brains, it hits fast. The sorting system removes that. We're not deciding what to do with anything. We are deciding which of the 4 piles it belongs in. 4 choices, that's it. Let me walk you through them. Pile number 1, I feel like it's the easiest. Junk mail. Catalogs, flyers, credit card offers, pizza coupons, anything that does not require immediate action and is not a record you need. If you don't need it, junk mail pile. You'll get more coupons later. The pile gets thrown away at the end of the session, not filed, not kept, gone. I recommend a black bag because I find it is helpful to not see the stuff in there, so you're not tempted to pull it back out. And I promise you, at least half of what is in that bag right now that you're about to sort is junk mail. That's the good news, right? Researchers show the average household gets 80 pieces of junk mail a month. I think it's more than that. Half the pile is already garbage. Throwing it away immediately makes everything smaller and your brain calmer. That counts as progress. Pile number 2, keep and file. These are important reference items, important records, tax documents, insurance information, lease agreements, things that you need to be able to find later, but they don't require any action from you right now. You don't have anything that you're supposed to be doing with them. You just need them to come back. Pile number 3 is going to be your bill pay pile. Anything that requires a payment, a utility bill, a credit card statement, a medical bill, a rent invoice. Now, here's the secret sauce. As you sort things into this pile, write them down. This is how I turn my bags and bags of paper into a couple of pages in a spiral notebook. Write down the biller name, the amount due, the account number, their phone number, the due date, all the information that you don't want to go hunting for later. Write it down. We're not paying anything right now. We're not calling anyone. We're not panicking about the number that we see on the bill. We're just identifying what's there. Now, when you're doing this, you want to split it into 2 lists. You want to have an urgent list, which are bills that are going to be due in the next 7 days, and other bills, meaning it's due after that. Now, if something is past due, it goes on the urgent list, not in the trash, not in denial, the urgent list. We will deal with that list, but not today. Pile number 4 is your action items. Anything that requires action other than a payment. We got the bill pile for that. This is for other actions. Maybe there's a form that needs to get filled out, a call you need to make, something you need to respond to, something to follow up on. Same structure. You got urgent actions and you got other actions. So if you have an action that you need to take in the next 7 days, it's urgent, something you need to email, return, mail in the next 7 days, put it on the list of urgent action items in your notebook. All the other things, write on the regular action list in your notebook. The paper that you just opened that's attached to the action you need to take, lay it in order in the list that you wrote it down in your notebook. So the first thing you wrote down in your notebook should be the first paper on your list. This will make it easier for you to find in that pile later when you're going to take action. Now, remember, you're not doing any of it yet. You're just naming it. You're just getting it out of a pile and on a list somewhere so that you can see it. That's the whole system. That's it. 4 piles, 2 lists, technically 4 lists, I guess. And here's what happens when you finish sorting. The pile that felt like one enormous, impossible thing, the pile of shame that has been sitting on your counter in that bag becomes 4 smaller, specific, manageable things. The junk is gone. The important documents have a home. The bills are on a list. The actions are on a list. We haven't even solved anything yet, but we can see everything, and it feels good as hell. Seeing it clearly categorized without junk mixed in is the moment it stops haunting you. We all know that feeling. This is how it stops. Now, it's the part that turns a sorting session into something even more powerful. As you're going through the pile, specifically the bill pay and action items piles, write things down as you find them. This is how you go from a cleaner counter to an actual financial picture. Write down things that you might realize that you need to do in order to take action. Maybe you're looking at a bill and you realize that you don't know this company's login information. You don't need to go look it up right now, but maybe you make a note to look up login information so you know where the friction is from taking this task. That goes on the action items list. Subscriptions. If something shows up that you've been charging for monthly that you also forgot about, write it down. That's a subscription that you need to cancel. So you write down the bill, but you also write down what you need to do. So maybe you need to cancel it. Maybe you need to call them. What do you need to do? Maybe you want to negotiate the bill and see if they're able to give you a payment plan or a hardship, right? So that way you don't have to think about it again when you go to look at your list. While we're here, email counts too. A lot of what's in your physical pile exists digitally as well. At my paper parties, some people aren't sorting their physical mail. They're actually sorting their emails. They're opening their inbox and sorting through their financial emails in the exact same way. Junk folder, keep folder, bill pay folder, action needed folder. Same 4 categories, different format. You don't have to do your email today, but if you want to, I'm just showing you that the system could work for you in the exact same way too. At the end of the sorting session, we don't just have an organized pile, we have a list. Billers, due dates, logins to find, subscriptions to cancel, actions to take. That list is the financial picture we couldn't see before. This is what gathering looks like. And when I had that list, I carried that little notebook with me. When I would have downtime, maybe just a few minutes, I might be able to cross a few things off my list. It was so satisfying to be able to make a little bit of progress while I was waiting at the doctor's office, waiting to be called back. So now we have 4 piles and 2 lists. Here's what happens with them. The urgent list is what we tackle first. Not because the other things don't matter, but because the urgent list has the closest deadlines and the highest immediate cost if ignored. I know you're probably thinking, what to do with this list? How do I contact the billers? How do I negotiate? How do I prioritize when the math doesn't match? Relax, friend. That's coming up in the next video. But for today, we sorted. Enough. Take the win. It's progress over perfection, always. And if what you found in that pile is bigger than you expected, if there are numbers that feel really heavy or patterns that you're starting to notice or relationships with money that goes deeper than just the disorganized counter, that is not a paper problem. That's deeper work. Love Yourself Back to Wealth is an 8-week live group coaching program. And it's different from every course you've probably tried and didn't finish because the reason those courses don't work isn't you. It's that they're built for a brain that isn't yours, for a nervous system, for a trauma story that isn't yours. This program was built for women who are ambitious and overwhelmed, women who have ADHD or don't have ADHD, maybe they're just ADHD-ish, right? But women who want a budget for their real life and the way that their brain actually works, not some ideal version of a person who has everything together. Inside, we go through the same system that I use with my one-on-one clients. We heal the relationship with money, the shame, the avoidance, the nervous system patterns that keep pulling you back into the same cycles. And here's the part that makes it actually stick. Every woman in the program gets paired with a Fin Bestie, someone who checks in on you, someone who celebrates your wins, someone who texts you when you go quiet. You're not just in a course, you're in a community. You heal together. Yes, I'm live in this group teaching you twice a week. This is not me pre-recording something and hoping that you get it. I'm live with you. This is for anyone who is ready to stop fixing systems and start healing the root. Check the link in the description for full details to join the next group cohort. Here's what I want you to walk away with today. We don't have to solve everything. We just have to sort it. The junk goes away. The important things get a home. The bills get a list. The actions get a list. 4 piles. That's the whole job today. And if you want to do it with people around you, a little music, a little energy, me walking you through it live, the paper party is exactly that. The link to register is in the description. Bring your pile, bring a friend. We'll be in here getting shit done that we don't feel like doing together. Now, before you go, are you about to do this? Be honest. Are you pausing this video right now to go get the pile? Good. Do it. I'll be here. And when you come back, come tell me in the comments what you found. I genuinely want to know what's in the bag. What surprised you? What was less scary than you thought? Because I've been doing this long enough to know what people find in their piles is almost always more interesting than they were afraid of. I have found money multiple times. I found bills, but surprisingly, I found money too. Now, come back and tell me. I'll be reading every single one, and I'll see you in the comments.
Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money.
Here we go.
Dollar
Shake
bill,
this shit.
yo.